We have here verse 26 of the 15th chapter of the Gospel of John. Jesus has been painting a rather bleak picture of the situation the disciples are going to confront, because the hostility that has been directed toward Christ is going to be directed as well toward them. And they're going to be facing, of course, a fair amount of difficulty as a result of that hatred that is found in the world concerning Christ and those who are aligned with him. And as if to give them some word of encouragement to go along with that rather discouraging assessment of the circumstances, we have this verse 26, and actually further conversation that will follow in the next chapter. But we have here hotan. This is a coordinating conjunction in Greek. It's indeclinable. It takes the subjunctive ordinarily. The little on there is connected to the aeon, which means if, but in this connection it means when, suggesting the idea of when this should happen, the subjunctive here. And of course we have the subjunctive verb, eilthei, from erchomai, I come or I go. This is the third person singular aorist active subjunctive, so when or whenever he comes, and the subject of the verb, ho, the masculine singular nominative article, the parakletos, which of course has been the subject of prior conversation. The lawyer is really the way it was commonly used in the first century. An advocate, one who comes to stand alongside, literally the one called in alongside. So when he comes, ho parakletos, the paraclete, hon in the accusative here, relative pronoun, going to serve as the direct object of the verb that we have over here, pimpso. So when he comes, the paraclete, which ego, added for emphasis, I, pimpso, from pimpo, I send. This is the first person singular future active indicative, which I will send, humen. This is the dative plural of the second person pronoun, whom I will send to you. And then interestingly it adds para, which is a preposition, takes the genitive, to patros, from the Father. So we have this idea that Jesus will send the Spirit, but send the Spirit from the Father, tying together the Father and the Son here in an interesting way that does bring to mind, if you're familiar with it, the filioque controversy that ultimately split the Eastern and Western churches over the question whether or not the Spirit proceeds only from the Father or also from the Father and the Son. And this actually is a verse that was very much at the heart of that particular debate. But here we'll just leave it at that. So Jesus says, I'm going to send the Spirit to you from the Father. And then he clarifies the nature and identity of the Spirit, pneuma. This neuter word means wind or breath, but also spirit, of course. In the Greek mind and the ancient mind, really, they were the same thing. So this is the article, to pneuma, the Spirit, and then tes, the article, this is the feminine, genitive singular, with the noun aletheos, the truth, so the Spirit of truth. Of course, very much tied to the identity of the Spirit as the one who discloses and leads into truth. Ho, and again it's a relative pronoun, now in the neuter, because it's referring back to the neuter noun, the Spirit of truth, which, and then para, from, same as we had earlier, from to patros, same construction, which from the Father, ekparuetai. Ekparuamai, I go forth. This is the third person singular of this deponent verb, which from the Father goes forth or goes out, is the idea. So it's the Spirit that Christ will send. He's going to send it from the Father. It's the Spirit of truth, which the Father is in some ways the origins of, you would say. He goes out from the Father. Of course, this gets us very close to the deep mystery of the Trinity and how exactly the Trinity is to be understood, but one way or another, the language here speaks for itself. And then to clarify, akenos, relative pronoun, that one, this is the actually the masculine singular nominative, that one. So even though the word Spirit here is a neuter noun. Nevertheless, it shifts to a masculine noun, certainly attaching personality at this point. Who, that one, marturese, from martureo, I bear witness. This is the third person singular future active indicatives. That one will bear witness, will testify. Peri, preposition with the genitive here, concerning me. So the idea is the Spirit will come forth, will testify, and of course we'll have greater clarity on that point in the following chapter. But against the hostility, the whole point here is the wrath, the anger that's going to be directed against the disciples is going to have its adequate defense with respect to the Spirit that is going to come testifying concerning Christ through the mouth of these disciples. And so they're going to have the requisite strength and power that they need to carry out the ministry to which Christ has appointed them.